Who's next? Ooh, Manly.
Yeah, Manly.
The team that could be
Interesting
anything.
one, yeah.
They fucking look good today at $21.
Triple turbo.
Triple turboed. Finished 12th last year. Pretty disappointing, although were missing probably the most important of the turbos.
Yeah, a bit naturally aspirated last year.
Yeah, and 11th the year before.
You put that shirt on just for tonight, didn't you?
No. Yeah, I got a little turbo. There we go.
Jesus, bit of a car chat here. Shit turbo sounds. We've all got them in the 8, so we're all expecting big things out of Manly. And look, if today's anything to go off, and we did do these, grain of salt, we did them today. They look fucking pretty good over there in Vegas. Ooh, yeah. You've got them 7, I've got them 7, you've got them 6. And the big story is Luke Brooks coming in from the Tigers. He copped heaps, Is it Luke Brooks or was it the system that he was in? Something tells me it's
probably Tigerland.
Yeah, probably not Luke
Just
Brooks.
look at that board, bro.
It's going to be interesting to see how he goes playing inside DCE and with Tommy Turbo screaming for it coming through.
That frees him up so much. Yeah, less responsibility and more just focus playing his natural game. And if you got Tommy T running off your shoulder, you're going to have a good day.
I think so. He looked pretty good today, Lukey Brooks. Some other bigger name signings. Nathan Brown comes across from the Eels. Jackson Paulo got a start on the wing today. Corey Waddell had a bench spot there. Their bigger names leaving. Sean Kepi, who started for South. KO Weeks, we spoke about last week. Probably going to get the 6th job at the Raiders.
Might be Strange to nick in that. Strange played pretty well on the weekend as well.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know if Strange is going to get a centre spot and
exactly,
how it's going to work with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll keep it about Manly. So Ruben Garrick into the centres with Turbo coming back. Done an excellent job with the one jersey on his back. And then usually when Turbo's in has been a winger. So a few wingers moving inside a position this year.
Yeah, well, they got so much speed on the outside. I guess they wanted to keep it that way.
100%. Saab, one of the quickest men in the NRL. So I think if they stay healthy if they go triple turbo and all three of them stay healthy, if DCE stays healthy, I think, anything less than top 8's a failure.
Yeah, I agree. They're always that kind of team that get that dark horse card because as soon as they have those guys healthy, especially Tom Turbo, who nearly won a... Did he win the Dally M off playing half a season?
Yeah, 14. I think it was 14 games.
Yeah, so that's the kind of level of talent he brings to his squad, and he brings them from a bottom 8 team to a top 8 team. So, if he can stay healthy throughout and they can, Luke Brooks unlocks the halves a little bit, helps DCE, I think they could be anything, really. They could even push further than where we've ranked them at 7. They could really, challenge the top sides. And we had South High, and we'll get to them in a second, but they got hammered today. Yeah,
and the matchups, and it was only today in Vegas and travel and the rest of it, but Olokwatu had Kalomatangi had him sorted and scored one from close range, and they'll be gunning for one of those edge spots for Origin as well. So they're pretty talented all over the park. This is how they lined up today. They had Tommy Turbo 1, Saab 2, Garrick 3, Kohler 4, Jackson Paulo comes across from the Roosters into 5, Luke Brooks 6, DCE 7, Taniela Paseka 8, Lachlan Croker 9, Josh Aluway 10, Olokwatu 11, then Ben Turbo 12, Jake Turbo 13, Carl Lawton got the 14 today, Corey Waddell, Ethan Bullimore and Nathan Brown, bearing in mind there's some injuries to Josh Schuster and Matthew Lodge.
Are they going to play Schuster? Is he going to be utilities, second rower?
Yeah, I think he's going to come off the bench as a second rower, and if
paying big money for him. So.
Yeah, if they need half coverage, I think it'll be if DCE goes down, Brooks will play the half and Schuster plays 6, or
especially during Origin period if DCE's going go around again for Queensland, which he hasn't said he's not. So
so it's going to be hard to see a future for Schuster if Brooks looks like the man in 6. Yeah, he's going to have to play as an edge, and he wouldn't want Ben Turbo to be having games like he did today because he looked pretty good.
Yep.
Keep an eye on Gordon Chan Kum Tong, 22-year-old hooker. He made his debut, played a handful of games last year. Probably be pushing Carl Lawton for that 14 spot, and he's got an absolute mouthful of a name, so you can call him GCKT, Gordon Chan Kum Tong. Few interesting names there through the rest of the squad. Zach Fulton, very famous Manly name there. Played a few games last year. Jake Arthur come across mid-season last year. Tommy Talau, Brad Parker. There's in terms of depth, they've got some reasonable names there.
Also, what's really funny is Aaron Woods was a part of all the advertisement media beat up and didn't play in this game.
Yeah, he had 20.
The face of Las Vegas.
He had 20 on his back. I think Woodsy, at this stage of his career, it's more sort of a mentorship.
He's a good mouthpiece.
Kind of role, yes. And he speaks pretty well for
was it Saab during the week that got cooked by the American media because they were trying to ask him about mascots and they were trying to ask him like, what's a Rabbitoh? He's just like, a rabbit.
No. A Rabbitoh is the guy that hunts rabbits.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go. Bit of trivia for you boys. What do you got there, Mark? Bit of Manly chat, Manly history.
Yeah, well, I think you had in the notes to look at the record for Manly with and without Tommy Turbo.
How'd you go with that?
I don't know if I got the maths right, but potentially.
Significantly worse.
With you and Massa. He's got a spreadsheet. He's got a spreadsheet.
I broke out a spreadsheet.
I'm feeling more confident now. I'm feeling more confident.
So Tommy Turbo's played 132 games since 2015. Mm-hmm. He's won 68 games. Mm-hmm. In that time period, Manly has played 212 games, won 97. Mm-hmm. So that leaves Manly has played 80 games without Tommy Turbo and have only won 28.
So, if maths is your strong suit, which I'm not exactly sure, but I'm glad the spreadsheet is there, they're winning like a third of their games when
he plays.
Yeah. When he doesn't.
He's winning. They're winning. They're just over 50% when he plays, and about a third, so 33% when he's not playing. So
which is a significant drop off for one dude.
Yeah.
Well,
that's it.
They're 100% when Turbo plays this year, so they'll be hoping that stays up. And I think Manly fans should be reasonably confident for top 8 this year, especially after given the way they played today.
When was the last time 3 brothers in the same squad played together?
Burgess boys, I would think.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So it would be either the last time Sam or Luke played with George and Tom.
And did 3 Walters play for Brisbane before that?
In the 90s? Yeah.
That's they're probably the ones.
That's
probably it.
Yeah.
Not enough John's brothers.
Well, there's plenty of
twos. Yeah, threes.
The Morris boys.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3s. Yeah, there we go. You look
it up.
Josh. It can just be brothers, I think, from that article. Too.
Yeah, it is just brothers.
Yeah.
We're looking for 3s though, bro.
Yeah. All 4 Burgess has played in one game for South, or a few games for South, which is
Bromwich
Yep, Burgess.
Yeah, when have they got that? The first time all 4 of them played together?
Out of the first 2010.
2011.
Brothers.
Yeah, that's
must have been 2011.
There you go.
I know George and Tom debuted 12 and 13.
Yeah.
So it must have been in 13?
Sometime around there.
Yeah.
Did they win the grand final?
I think 14, I think they won it.
Yeah, I think there might have been about 3 of them. So one of them had to retire.
Yeah, no, that was Sam Burgess' last game, wasn't it?
Yeah, when
he broke his jaw.
He broke his jaw, yeah.
But was Luke playing in that year?
Was Luke playing that year?
I'm going straight to it. Well, interesting. The AFL Grand Final was the first one that came up when I typed in 2014 Grand Final. Here we go. Tom Burgess, Sam Burgess, George Burgess, no Luke Burgess. Yeah, in 2014.
We had Walter Brothers.
Yep. Is it triplet?
Yeah, 3 Mortimers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so pretty rare.
Pretty
rare. So if we see triple turbo through the rest of the season, going to be some history breaking stuff.
Who's up next?
It's a good little segue into South Sydney. And $9.50 to win the whole thing. Very disappointing finish to last season. Finishing 9th, lost pretty much out for like the last sort of 6 odd weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Won 12, lost 12, finished 7th the year before. We've all got them bouncing back in kind of a big-ish way. You've got them finishing in the top 4, both of you, finishing 3rd, and I've got them finishing 5th. The biggest signing, arguably, of the whole off-season, Jack Whiten, comes across to play with his cousin Latrell, across from the Raiders. Probably the biggest signing, although Stephen Crichton might say something about it. Didn't play the Vegas game, misses next week too through suspension. So he'll be back in round 3. And then another notable omission for the first half of the season is Campbell Graham. We did report a few podcasts back that his sternum does require surgery. I think he had it a few weeks ago. And the whole sort of management around that was interesting. They'd gone some sort of osteoporosis injection, trying to avoid going under the knife for that. He did have his shoulder done first thing in the off-season. And obviously the injection and that sort of more conservative approach didn't pay off. So poor fella had to have sternum surgery pretty much on the eve of the season. So they'll miss him. He came on leaps and bounds last year and was really gunning for an Origin spot, but they'll be without him. Didn't sign broadly. Sean Kepi, we did mention, coming across from Manly. The only sort of starters they lose or bench guys they lose are Liam Knight and Hamo Selly. So relatively unchanged. How do we think they're going to pan out in 2024?
I feel like they need to avoid what happened last year. Is probably the main thing. Is they started really well.
Trell missing half a season.
Yeah, and then through the Origin period kind of fell apart, and a large part of that, of course, Latrell missing it with the reoccurring calf injury. So because he's a big, just like we just talked about, Manly with Turbo, Latrell's massive for South in their spine. So otherwise, the rest of the roster is really good. So I think we're missing one player. Why did we fall apart as bad as we did? It can't just be on Latrell because the rest of the roster is really, really good. Cody Walker's in there, Damien Cook, Cam Murray, etc., etc. So they've got talent. So I think that'll be the big challenge for the coaching staff is how do we avoid a big collapse like that? We need to stay healthy with Latrell, of course, and fire on all cylinders because they might not be the best defensive side in the comp, but they can score the most points. They've had that title for a couple of years. I think it's been the try scoring fiends with the X Factor, etc. Then you get back to that, and I think a large part of that is healthy Latrell. Cody Walker, I think, was a little bit dusty leading into this. He was for the game today. I think he was a late in for them, so that's going to be the challenge: is keeping all those guys healthy.
1 through 17 today. Trell Mid at 1, Alex Johnston at 2, Isaiah Tass, Richard Kenner. So one of them will miss out, you'd think, when Jack Whiten comes in. Jacob Gagai made his debut on the wing, scored today at 28 years of age, second oldest ever debutant to play for South. So kudos to him, younger brother of Dane. Cody Walker, Lachlan Ilias. Ilias looked pretty good first half of the season last year. Obviously a lot of pressure with him trying to fill those boots of Adam Reynolds. He's only young, but certainly looked the part at times last season. Tavita Totola is an underrated middle forward. Damien Cook, Sean Kepi, Keon Kalamatangi, Jai Arrow, Cameron Murray. You'd be hard pressed to find better packs than that in the league. Havili, Host, David Muali, Tom Burgess off the bench there. Depth might be a little bit concerning for them. It's going to be interesting to see again through that Origin period. You'd expect Latrell to miss. You'd expect Damien Cook to miss. You'd expect Cam Murray to miss. Jai Arrow, maybe Kalamatangi, maybe Cody Walker. So that's a good half the team there that might miss out during the Origin period. And didn't Jack put his hand up as well to say that he might be re-available for
exactly.
if he got selected.
Yeah, I think
that hurts him.
I think same for kind of the situation for Nico Hines. They were kind of on the outer. I think with Fittler and weren't real happy with New South Wales coaching, but new regime, new ideas. They're both back open to being able to do it. I was just looking at that. So he's two. Based on this, Alex Johnston is 2 behind Billy Slater and third. He did score 1 today. I'm not sure if that's been updated. So, because I can't see any statistics for him for this season so far. So he might be 1 behind Billy Slater. I think he gets Billy.
Yep.
Will he get Ken?
I think so. If he stays healthy, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he did 21 last year. So we will continue Alex Johnston watch. He's third there, and how far he got there? 24. My quick math is right.
Yeah.
Based on that number,
Yep.
maybe 23. So
23, I think.
yeah. So am I that confident you're going to do it this year? Healthy Latrell is a big difference because he averages 30 tries a season with Latrell, so that will really boost his numbers. But yeah, if Alex Johnson can play the season, he could be number one try scorer of all time.
Yeah, how old he is?
Early 30s.
29.
Yeah.
I just looked at it. I thought early 30s too. I thought for him to have scored that many tries, he must be 30.
2014. This is 10th season. Yeah, I guess so. He started as a 19-year-old.
He turns 30 this year.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff for AJ. I think there's no doubt he's going to get the record. But yeah, is it in 2024 or is it 2025? That's maybe the more pertinent question.
Yep.
Anything else to add there for South?
Don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
We've all got them top four. I think, sort of like Manly, if they were to miss the 8, that would be a disappointing season. Although pressure probably a little bit higher, even on South with Whiten coming in, they really should be a top 4 team.
Yeah, and they shouldn't finish 9th like they did last year.
Correct.
They had that. Not playing finals footy for them is a huge failure. So they really need to play finals football.
All right, let's go to the dynasty. The Penrith Panthers won the comp last year, won the comp the year before, won the comp the year before that. Three-peat. Looking at our predictions, everyone's had them winning the comp last year, which were good predictions. Shauno, you've got them finishing second. Do you think Brisbane maybe take that extra step this year? Me and Monks have got them finishing
Brisbane
first
need to get a roll
again.
on. They went super great today against
It's
the
a long
Roosters,
season.
but it is a long season.
I was listening to our chat about him last year. It was kind of like, here's all the guys they lost, big losses in Appy Coruscant and Matt Burton and all these guys leaving. And then we're like, but they still the best team. And we couldn't really articulate why. We said, they've got the Cleary combination.
Yeah,
they've got this incredible
they've still got
junior.
Tom Brady, so yeah.
Yeah, so I think that when you look at it on paper again, they should be worse. Their outs, from a talent perspective, outweigh their ins. But we're in a dynasty. The three-peat was an NRL era record. No one has done that since the 80s, and Parramatta doing it. And what they're trying to do now is go even further into the history books. And you got to go back to the Dragons back in the late 50s, early 60s. The 11 in a row, something we'll never see again. Bearing in mind there was no salary cap.
Yes.
Back in those days. So to win 3 of these things in a row is incredible.
In the NRL era, yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Can they do 4? That's what they're trying to do. It is their last year with Jerome Luai has confirmed that he'll go over to the Tigers next year. So breaking up that 6 and 7 combination that has done so well for them. But they did bring back Dane Laurie, who's a Panthers junior. So I don't know if they've earmarked him for 2025 playing the 6.
I think if anything's going to be their outdoing, it'll be that dynamic. Is he looking over his shoulder already? He's already thinking about next year. Leaving. Is there any tension? Like, if they start losing games, then I think the frustration maybe can fracture them. But
that could be a headline because Jerome Luai is a walking headline as it is.
It is, yeah. So
you could definitely see the Sydney print media going after him if they were to drop a few games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and whether that starts to fracture that relationship a little bit, and then of course when he leaves they'll reset and they'll probably be excellent next year.
I doubt
maybe, but
Romy and
we're clutching at straws for a reason why they'll be bad.
Yeah.
So otherwise they're probably going to finish 1 or 2. They've still got an excellent squad. Their spine is still elite. They've still got Nathan Cleary in there. So you can't fault them.
And I was saying, missing the 8 is unders for South and Manly. Missing the 4 is unders for Penrith. There's no reason why they shouldn't be a top 4 team again this year. They're $3.75 to win the whole thing, which is bloody short. Yeah, probably not a heap of value there. But it's if there's any team that can do it, it's this team. They've just proven time and time again, especially in the big games as well. I felt like last year they looked like they weren't quite the Penrith of 2022, and they were able to go through and win games when it mattered most.
Yeah, I think the greatest thing that ever happened to them is probably getting hammered by the Storm in the grand final. It really taught them how to prepare, how to get ready. The veteran that was Cam Smith and the way he ran that game, I think they learnt a lot, especially for Nathan Cleary, and they've been dominant post that.
Yep.
It was really the coming of age, I think, for them, their moment.
We'll talk briefly about the other ends. So Paul Alamotti comes over from the Bulldogs. I don't think he'll be pushing for a starting centre job. I think Tungo or Taylor May, who's coming back from injury, would have to get hurt. Brad Schneider, half, he comes across. And Riley Price comes across from the Cowboys. Lots of outs, so we're going to talk about it. We've already mentioned Critter. Zach Hosking, we spoke about last pod, goes over to the Raiders. Spencer Lenu, who got himself in a bit of hot water today, over to the Chooks. Jamin Salmon of Week Got a Dog fame. Jack Cogger, Tom Jenkins. So lots of outs for him. And again, success does build pressure because guys demand a bit more coin, and that's part of the game. But if last year's anything to go off, where we're talking about all the outs and like, holy fuck, there's a lot of guys going out, didn't seem to matter for them as long as they got that core together.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we've kind of talked about it, like the way that it could fall apart, but this could be their last dance as well. Yep. So you could go the other way as well. They all group together to do it for one last time.
One to watch, Maverick Geyer, son of Mark Geyer, 23-year-old. He's been elevated up to their top 30. Probably doesn't find himself quite in their best 17, but Origin period should definitely get a start. And a couple of injuries we'll see him in. So keep an eye out on Maverick Geyer. If he's anything like his old man, be pretty handy.
Yep.
1 through 17, this is their predicted lineup. Dill Edwards, Sunia Taruva, Isaac Tungo, Taylor May coming back off the ACL, Brian the meter eater, Jerome Law, Nathan Cleary. Then forward pack has taken a bit of a hit, but they still look pretty strong on paper. Moses Leota, Mitch Kenny, James Fisher-Harris, Liam Martin, Scott Sorensen, who was vastly improved last year, Isaiah Yeo, and bench as well, taking a bit of a hit. Sonny Luke, Zach Hosking goes, so that's an old thing. Luke Garner, Lindsay Smith. So maybe Maverick Geyer might be pushing for a bench spot. They do have the likes of Tyrone Peachy, Dane Laurie. They could possibly play him as a bench guy. It'll be interesting to see how they get announced on Tuesday. Anything else there to add, Max?
No, not too much.
They've got Matt Eisenhuth as in their best 17 there, according to Zero Tackle.
Yep.
I think you're probably right. Like, Lau's probably, like I said last year, that Farnsworth would probably want to protect himself a little bit going across to the Dolphins, but he still had a pretty good year. Probably similar with Jerome. Like, he probably still wants, getting the fourth one in a row would be more than anything else that you'd want in the comp. I reckon that spine, that combination there is going to be electric this year. They're obviously going to play. They want to prove something, I guess. Long story short.
They're the best and put their names in history forever.
And Romy's mindset, like, obviously you don't want to just go across the Tigers and assume that you're never going to play in a grand final ever again.
Yeah.
But
happy carousel.
Say when I go to the Tigers next year, burp.
They're just collecting all the pieces.
But you also, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. He might also have that, I'm making this decision financially and trying to support my family for life. But the caveat of that is, look, I may never go to the big dance ever again. So they'll be hungry. They're going to be hungry.
Yeah, I agree.